Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to another Sunday morning edition of DoMoreLife. I am so glad you guys are here with me. And today we're going to talk about something other than we will talk about Thailand travel and tourism, but we're also going to talk about what it's like dating during a pandemic. And most of this information is going to come from my early days. Of being in the situation and how I dated then, and other information will come from friends and what I've seen them do, things I've seen them do that have worked very, very well. So I think it'll be pretty cool. Good little discussion. You guys can throw in your 2 cents and we'll talk about it and we'll see what's happening. Unfortunately, we do have more bad news here in Thailand regarding the situation, but we will discuss that later on. Right now, I want to talk about, I think it'll be fun to talk about dating a little bit. Less butterfly action, says Philthos. Fair enough. Oh, Robert's already dropped the PayPal link and the Cash App in there. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Appreciate that. That is for, I'll pin that to the top of the page. And that is for anybody wishing to contribute. I appreciate it very much. It's not required, but much appreciated. And away we go, says Lyle. I agree. That's right, says awesome channel. I got lots of good info from your previous live stream. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. That's the whole goal of the channel. Ty Guy, Bri, good morning to you. Asia Unscripted says dating sucks during lockdown. Yeah, it does. It does. But can be done. Just depends on what degree of safety you are willing to or you want to achieve. And we're going to get into that. Robert Mack, good morning to you. It's good to see you in here as always. Lots of family members in here, guys. I was reading I just want to mention this briefly. I was reading a tweet this morning from a well-known person on Twitch, and they were saying that streaming doesn't even they stream on Twitch, obviously, and it doesn't even feel like they have to do anything because it's like a meeting of the family, is what the person said. It's so good to have a family online, and I just want to say the same thing about this channel. It's so nice to have an online family, an online circle of friends, and an online community. It's awesome, man. Asia Unscripted says, my condo in Cebu didn't allow visitors during those two types of quarantine. I can understand that. We're going to talk about, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to be safe during dating and during I'm just going to say the word pandemic, and since it's in the title, and we're also going to talk about ways that you can get around certain things, and especially here in Thailand, because that's where most of my dating experience is. When I was in the Philippines, there was no COVID, so dating was pretty straightforward there. And if you have ever dated in the Philippines, you know that dating is very easy there. Doesn't matter really what you look like in terms of weight and that kind of thing. Yeah, tie eyebrow. Yeah, definitely do that. But that's not the safety issue I'm looking for. That's the safety issue that I hope people in general follow. that's one that needs to be followed no matter what. So we're gonna hope that people follow that one just instinctively. If you guys hadn't hit the thumbs up button yet, please do so. It's free, doesn't cost a thing, and it definitely helps out the channel. I would appreciate it very, very, very much. Help gets the message out, and yeah. So let me just read the description real quick. It says, in this live stream video, we will discuss what it's like dating during a pandemic in Thailand. We will also discuss Thailand's latest lockdown and travel restrictions. Finally, we will discuss any breaking news and or updates as they pertain to Thailand travel and Thailand's foreign tourism plans in 2021. Dating in Thailand during this pandemic is possible, although we have to use social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, and other safety measures. I'll get into that more. A good way to date in Thailand is to start with 2 dating apps, Tinder and Thai Friendly. And I'm going to talk in detail about both of those apps, just to let you know. I will explain how to use these apps for dating in Thailand and how you can stay safe while dating during COVID. As we all know, COVID-19 is a problem in Thailand, so we must be extra careful and safe during these times. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about ways to date, and we're going to talk about ways to avoid getting sick while dating. And then we're going to talk about, if you're the type of person that doesn't care, how to just date and not worry about any of that stuff. So, Charles says, when I was walking around during the April light restrictions, no shortage of ladies telling me I'm a handsome man and want to go with me. LOL. Yeah, that very true. Ask for a picture without a mask. I agree, Lyle. That's definitely an option. If someone is in their home and nice and safe and socially distanced, then they can take a picture without a mask, and it should not be a problem. So yeah, without a mask is having pictures on your profile without a mask is probably a good idea. Of course, if you're out in public, you want to make sure you have your mask on. Definitely right now. Thai Guy Bryce says you should try the app Thai Match as well. That's similar to Thai Friendly. I have. The reason I'm focusing on Tinder and Thai Friendly is because they're the 2 that I'm most familiar with, that I've used in the past. And they're also the ones that have produced the best results for me personally. I haven't used Thai Match that much, Thai Guy Bry. So let's talk about first. I want to say Thai Friendly is the best, in my opinion, in terms of dating here. But let's talk about Tinder first. So Tinder gives you a couple options. To really be super effective dating using Tinder, you will want to go with the Tinder Gold status. Okay. There's a couple you can choose from. I think the highest level is Platinum or whatever, but Tinder Gold will get you pretty much all the features, and it's like $15 a month or something like that. But it gets your profile out to more people. You have the option of unlimited matches per day. They don't restrict any of that. There's a lot of features on there. You guys can go and read about it yourself. Let's talk about setting up your profile. On your profile, you're going to want the cleanest, neatest pictures of yourself that you can possibly have. Make sure your profile picture is one that you're the most proud of, like you are the most proud of. One that will be attention grabbing, to say the least. So that doesn't, I don't mean do something super candid or vulgar. I just mean make sure the picture gets attention. There are a lot of ways to do that. JX says, hello. It's crazy in some countries women can see men to marry them without seeing their face or body. We're complaining about a mask. I know, right? That's fair point, Jay. Fair point. So on Tinder, make sure you get it. I believe you get 6 profile pictures or 8. I can't remember, but only one's going to show up at the beginning. So make sure that one picture is your best picture, the one that's going to grab the most attention. That's the one you want. I like that, Thai Guy Bry. Now, in your subsequent pictures, what I would do is put you in places or in situations that you like to be in. For example, my hobbies are photography and videography and travel. So my profile list on Tinder, if I even still have it, I'm not even sure that I still have Tinder. But what I had up there was a profile picture of me that I thought was good. And then I had pictures of me in various places in the Philippines, in front of waterfalls, teaching, traveling around, etc., that kind of thing. So when someone clicks on your profile and they go through your pictures, they see interest on there, they're going to be able to kind of see your interest, which brings me to what I call the tagline, which is kind of the first thing that someone reads about you on Tinder. That tagline will pretty much make or break you, because really, when people are going through Tinder, guys, girls, whatever your sexual orientation is, it doesn't really matter that much. Most people, for the most part, are going to look at that profile picture, look at your name, and look at your age, and then they're going to read that tagline, right? So that quote or whatever you want to put there that's going to either interest them or it's not. So I strongly recommend putting something there that in that tagline that is abstract, something unique, something that is not generic, something that you normally don't see on other profiles. Same goes for Thai friendly. All these rules apply to Thai friendly as well, but I'm going to tell you the difference in the free versions and how you can make one better than the other. Filtho says, picture at the bank, the casino, the Mercedes dealership, on the yacht, tagline, let's shop. Yeah, that'll definitely do it, Filthos, for sure. What's up, Ross? He says, hey, JC, you think my wife would be okay if I set up profile? No, I don't. I think your wife would probably be distraught, to be honest with you. But I bet if your wife set up a profile, she would get more clicks than both our YouTube channels combined. Because I don't know if you guys know it or not, Ross has first of all, Ross's wife is just an outstanding human being. Let me say that to be clear. And secondly, she is absolutely when you see her, you might see her in her video, but when you see her in person, she's just drop dead gorgeous. Absolutely one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. I don't know how he did it. Anyway, but Nell in Thailand, good to see you, bud. And congratulations on your goals, by the way, dude. I saw on Facebook where you had lost so much weight and you had set out to do it, and man, you are really getting it done. So big congrats to you, bro. Big congrats. But back to setting up these dating profiles. The profile is gonna, and then if you really want to get carried away with it, you can put in the description a little bit about yourself. However, be careful. Be careful not to give too much information away. I'm sorry. Down Talent says Ross is also drop dead gorgeous. He's one of the most beautiful men I've ever seen. I don't know. Have you seen his hair lately? His hair has got me a little bit concerned. Other than that, he's beautiful. I agree. But in these description boxes, limit your description. When it says job, what do you do? Okay, Ross, I'll take your word for it, buddy. But when it says what do you do for a job or whatever, I leave all that stuff blank, because at the end of the day, the vast majority of people that go on Tinder are not looking for long-term relationships anyway. And the even more, if that's this horrible English, but you can't say the vast majority, more than the vast majority of people that go on Thai friendly are not looking for long-term relationships. And that's, kind of the way. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, they get you a long-term dating app. and they make those. They used to have, I forgot what the name of that one was that was. Anyway, most people that come to Thailand are not looking for that kind of date. They're looking for either a short-term relationship with the potential to turn long term, or they are looking for casual relationships. The vast majority of the time. Nell says, I tell them that I'm an Instagram model and Twitter influencer. There you go. Hey, it's creative, man. And that's another thing. Be creative in these descriptions and the titles. Like I said, the tagline under your name, whatever quote you decide to put there is going to be a big influence as to whether or not you get a response. Also, there are certain other fields you want to leave blank, like your address. Definitely don't put that on there. Don't put any real, information that could really give away who you are on these dating apps, just because it could be dangerous potentially. And I don't want to see anybody in that situation. So when it comes to Tinder, if you have the free version, you can chat a little bit and with someone that you match with. And then you can only like a certain number of pictures for a certain period of time. That's why I recommend getting Tinder Gold if you're going to be if you're going to use Tinder. Use the Gold version because it pumps out your profile picture much more. It also gets you much more viewing time, so to speak. You also have the super like option on there, which is basically just if you find a girl or whatever guy, whatever your sexual preference is, if you find someone on there that you really want to talk to, you can use the super like, and they'll see that you use super like, and usually you get a response from that person. How much does Tinder cost? They have, I think, 3 packages, Ross. I believe they have silver, gold, and platinum, if I'm not mistaken. There's really no reason to get platinum unless you're like, just doing a lot of casual dating. But gold, I always used to get gold. It was $15 a month. And that covers pretty much everything. You can message unlimited with people. You can see who likes you, so you can go to their profile. That way you don't have to slide through and see, oh, it's a match. You can actually see the people that like you before you have conversations with them. So, and let me just remind everybody, stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm going to give the latest updates on tourism and travel here in Thailand and the numbers and all that stuff. So just stay tuned, guys. Hello, David. Good to see you back, bud. Now let's talk about Thai Friendly a little bit. Thai Friendly is a great app. It now says it's cheaper than alimony and child support. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It definitely is. Do you speak Thai? Will that increase your chances? Absolutely, Jay. I don't speak Thai, but if I did, it would definitely increase my chances. 100%. Many times you will find that and using Tinder, Thai Friendly, it really depends on where you are also in the country of Thailand. If you're out in in the province, for example, neither one of these apps are going to do you a whole lot of good because there's just going to be less people that are using the apps where you are. If you're in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Pattaya, Phuket, Samui, Krabi, if you're in those areas or whatever, you're going to have a lot better chance with these dating apps. Now, Ross says comparing Thai Friendly Cupid to Tinder, which creates more results. I'm going to say Thai Friendly will create the most results for you. But here's the thing about Thai Friendly. Nell says, got around, have to get my steps in. Okay, Nell, thank you, bud. Appreciate it. Have a good day, and yeah, get your steps in, man. So the thing about Thai Friendly is I've only used the free version, okay, of Thai Friendly. So the way to do, yeah, if she speaks good English, Ross, I agree. She probably won't be that much interested if you speak Thai, because they like to be able to talk about you in Thai while you're around, and not to their friends, and know that you don't know what they're saying, which I find hilarious. Mine does it to me all the time. Yeah, but anyway, so on Thai Friendly, a very short message is needed. Hey, I saw your I see your profile on Thai Friendly. I'm very interested. Here's my line ID. I recommend having a backup account for this. Don't use your normal line account unless you absolutely have to. That way you won't run into problems later that could arise. So leave your line ID on the message with the girl, because they know that you're using a free app, or you can even say that you're using the free version. You can't chat back, but here's the line app. If they're interested, trust me, they will get right back to you. And we're going to lead into what this means in terms of the nightlife industry in places like Pattaya and Phuket and other places that currently don't have a nightlife industry, or so they say. Ross says, Jay, I read that. Knowing Ty will tell her you have been here for a while and know many of the games already. That's true, Ross. Very true. Frank, good to see you. I remember getting to Thailand and my Tinder exploded. I had over 60 matches and too many messages to read. It was eye-opening. Yep, that's what happens. And I spelled Tinder wrong in the description. Oh, that's so bad. Filtho says, less can be better. Fewer women in the provincial pool, but seems the fraying males are still in the catbird seat. I agree with you, Filthos. I think that's accurate information. Kevin, what's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. Says, hey, JC, hope you're hanging in there on the furlough. I am. For those of you that don't know, I'm furloughed partially. So I'm only receiving half month salary for, I don't know how long it's going to be, especially with the lockdowns now. Don't know. Have no idea. I met my fiance on Thai Friendly, waiting for her to come to USA. Good for you, Kevin. Good for you, man. That's awesome. And these dating apps can produce a lot of results, by the way. They really can. You can become overwhelmed with results. Like if you get Tinder Gold, for example, you will find that the number of matches that you get will supersede your ability to contact all of them. It also allows you to get rid of a lot of what you're not looking for. Also, Kevin has put a challenge out. Wow, unbelievable. Kevin, thank you so much for doing that. The PayPal link's at the top, and the Cash App's at the top. If you get $50, I will match it. Well, brother, I tell you what, if we can't get $50 out of this live stream, then we probably can't get $50 out of any live stream, because we got straight up DoMoreLife family members in here, and we'll see what happens. Lyle says, make Kevin pay. Yeah, Lyle paid up yesterday. And that's, thank you, Kevin, for putting that up there. I really appreciate that very much, man. Hopefully we'll get that. Keep reminding people throughout the live stream, and that would be very, very nice, because a little bit of money goes a long, long way when you're furloughed or partially furloughed over here in Thailand. So, thanks again for putting that out, Kevin. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get some responses there. $50, that's if 5 people put $10 in, we're there. And then you're going to match it with 50. So that would be awesome. Matter of fact, we just got 20 right there from Mr. Lyle, who is just an unbelievable supporter of this channel. And I can't send my love out enough to the people who continuously support this channel. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, the exchange rate. We need to do a whole video on that. Ross, I was thinking about doing a video and having you on to explain that. So we may do that. There's Lyle's $20. So we only need $30 to go, and Kevin will put 50 in. So up to you guys. That would be awesome. Ross says, sure, cool. We'll probably do that either sometime this week or next weekend, Ross. We'll do a StreamYard, and I'll get you on, and we'll let you, or you and I will discuss the exchange rate. I'll look up some information so I'm not stuck on it midweek. Okay, sounds good. Sounds real good. We'll talk about the exchange rate being up, and we'll also talk about Kevin, the exchange rate being possibly going up even higher. Why the bot could go into a free fall. Ross has brought that to my attention. He has a very good point. I don't know why we only have 12 thumbs up, Philthos. Maybe we have some trolls in here. I'm not sure. But if you guys hadn't hit the thumbs up button, I appreciate it. Ross predicts going to be 37 to 1 by November. That would be awesome. I hope I'm still here. I really do. And when I say I hope I'm still here, the reason I'm continuing to stay and fight for jobs here in Thailand is only because you guys are supporting the channel. Like Kevin's challenge, that's what's keeping me here. I could probably only survive with the money I have saved probably about 2 months here in Thailand, and then I would have to go back to USA completely broke. So these little challenges are really pretty much keeping me alive right now. I have applied, just personal update real quick. I applied for a teaching job online. I got a call from a school yesterday in Chiang Mai that's interested in me. So we'll see what happens from there. I'll update you guys more on that as it comes. This is another PayPal. Trying to get to Kevin's challenge. We had 20 from Lyle. This is 10 from another constant contributor who I appreciate and love very much. Mr. Charles White, $10 right there. That's 30. We need $20 to get to 50, and then Kevin will put in 50, and we will have an awesome day for DoMoreLife. I'm excited about that. Very excited. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. Back to Thai Friendly. Thai Friendly is going to be, if you go to Pattaya, for example, let me tell you my experience in Pattaya with Thai Friendly. And look, this was when I was single, okay? So you guys don't have to worry about that. And I never claimed to be some kind of person that doesn't go to the bars and doesn't participate in the nightlife or anything like that. I'm just not an avid participant in those things. This was back when I had extra cash and all that stuff. So what I would do with Thai Friendly, really simple. This is what they're doing now. Okay. This is how the informal workers and all that stuff. JX just sent $15 via the Cash App. Thank you so much, Jay. So we need 5 more to go. 5 more dollars. There's Jay's $15. And we'll be there. 5 more bucks, and we'll make Kevin pay up. Thank you very much, sir, Jay. Griffin. Griffin sent in. We're there. I didn't see Griffin's come through. Griffin has sent in $10, which met the goal, and Kevin has already sent in his 50. How about that? You guys rock. we made $100 already, and you guys just absolutely rock. Kevin's challenge has been met. 50 right there. Guys, thank you so much. Like, really. I don't know what to say other than just straight up thank you. Wow. What a day. That's fantastic. Thank you, Kevin and Griffin, and who else do we have here? Thank you, Kevin, first of all, for throwing it out. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Griffin. Big thank you to Kevin, of course, for the really large contribution there. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love when people say they're glad they could help. We had Mr. Charles White and Mr. Lyle, who also participated today. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Nope, didn't miss anybody. So thank you guys. I really, really, really appreciate that. Yes, Griffin, we are rocking and rolling, brother. And it's because of people like you that we are able to do that. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to get off the PayPal topic because I don't want the stream to get caught up in all that. But guys, $100 goes a long way. A little over 3,000 baht right now. So that's huge, and I really genuinely appreciate it. Lyle says that went faster than the night with over 60 people on here. Yeah, it did. I know, right? Mr. James, I won't call your last name James, but a guy named James just sent $30 more via PayPal. Thank you so much, James. That's absolutely fantastic. I won't put his last name up there, but he just sent in an additional $30. Fantastic, man. I really don't know what to say other than just from the bottom of my heart, I really, truly appreciate it. Very, very, very much. I really do. Couldn't come at a better time. That's for sure. I appreciate it. I really do. And the thing about the U.S. dollars coming in, when I transfer them using Wise, which is the app I use to transfer all my money, now that the bot is falling in value, I get a much higher rate. So you guys are actually helping me out more than you realize. And it's helping keep the channel going, man. I love it. And I really appreciate you guys for it. Really do. Charles White, I'll catch the comments. We'll go back to dating, and then we'll talk about the travel and tourism. Charles says, Ross and Ryan, can you predict what the exchange rate will be like in February? Awesome. Ross says, Charles, if I could see in the future, my guess is 34 to 35, depending on jab rollout. That's a good point, Ross, because a lot of it has to do with jab rollout and how well the tourist industry recovers. And we're going to talk about why Sandbox might be in big trouble in just a few minutes. Lyle says that went fast. Griffin said rocking and rolling. Kevin said glad I could help. Thank you, Kevin. Really, thank you. Lyle says that went faster than the last night with over 60 people. Yeah, I know, right? It depends on the people who are in here. You know, Lyle, it really does. That's why it's family, man. I love it. If you contribute to this channel, I consider you part of the DoMoreLife family, because you have to see some kind of value in the channel and its information and what we've put together here. And I say we because we do this it's a team effort. You know, we have the travel fund, which provides equipment and money for travel when we're not locked down and when I'm not furloughed. And we've made we've purchased tons of equipment with it. We've traveled a lot with it, and that's just how we roll, man. So Kevin says, thanks to everyone who made his challenge. And thank you for putting that out, Kevin. Ross says, the longer the jab rollout stumbles, so does the bot. Every time one of these tourism schemes falls, so does the bot. 100%. Lyle says, thanks, Kevin. See, that's when you got channel members thanking each other for making it happen. That's right here, boys. Lyle says, got my first jab this week, and I hope you're feeling good, Lyle. I hope it didn't. Do you mind sharing the initials of which one you got? I think you told us yesterday, but we can put that in the chat real quick and let us know if you had any side effects. Ty says it's 45. Ty Guy Bryce says it's 45.12 baht for one. Is that a pound or a euro? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm just not familiar with. I can never remember which one's which. But that's a lot of money. And that's probably why you see more of European expats over here right now than you do in America. David said, God bless you. I hope you still in Thailand so I can meet you. Yeah, believe me, David, I'm doing everything I can to stay here. I just from my personal savings account, I purchased, and this was actually, I saved it from the last stimulus check that we got from America. I just put it in savings and left it there. Paid for my insurance through at least December. So I have health insurance here at least through December in Thailand. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I stay here through at least December anyway. They let me pay, Ross, they let me pay twice this year, believe it or not, which was great. It cut the payment in half, so I didn't have to pay it all at one time. Saved me a lot of money, and I hope that that savings translates into me being able to, stay here longer and get by. It's pretty good. Thank you, David, for the comment. Appreciate that. Ross says, Ty guy, I remember the pound getting 70. Wow. So Lyle took the FIs and no effects. Very interesting, because that's the one that's come under so much fire lately, so much criticism. So very interesting. Wow. Let me finish up this little dating thing. So Thai friendly, you get to Pattaya and you're like, okay, it's time for some company to come over and sit and talk with me about Thailand and tell me nice stories and just get to know each other. So you go to Pattaya, for example. I'm just going to use Pattaya because that's the place I'm most familiar with. You go there and you get on Thai friendly and you do exactly what I just said. You have a profile, you have your picture up there, a little tagline, and you find multiple girls or a girl or guy, whatever your preference is. But you find whatever you're looking for, send them a message saying, look, I have the free account. Here's my, I'm very interested in talking to you. Here's my line ID. And they'll respond to you. And some of them will respond that are not informal workers, that are just people looking to have casual relationships with, or potential long-term relationships with Farang or Farlang. The vast majority, though, that respond are the informal workers from the nightlife and entertainment scenes that are currently closed down. And even when they're open, a lot of the specifically the girls that work in the drinking companions and the bars and the nightlife venues, entertainment, that kind of thing, they will use those apps during off hours to come over and provide you with information about Thailand and about information about them and all kinds of good stuff. So that's really kind of how it works. Tinder can work the same way. Sometimes it's a little less straight to the point using Tinder on when you go to places like Pattaya or Phuket or even in Bangkok. Bangkok has plenty of nightlife, plenty of informal workers. But even when you go there, Tinder has a little less straight to the point kind of way of doing things. So if you're going there and you're just looking for, or if you're anywhere in Thailand, you're just looking for a straight up casual relationship, or just want to meet up with somebody to hang out and have fun with, you can do that using Tinder or Thai Friendly. But Thai Friendly is usually the better way to go for short term and just casual meetings, that kind of thing. So that's my little advice on or suggestions on the dating apps here in Thailand. And I think that if you use those suggestions wisely, be careful. Make sure you are not using your full information. I'm not saying not to use your real name, but definitely don't use your full name on dating apps unless you just absolutely trust the entire process, which I wouldn't. It's too easy for information to get out here. Plus, the women in Thailand have various groups that they get on, that they will post your picture in these groups, and they're like, if this guy talks to you, stay away from him because he did this, and this to me, blah blah blah. So that's a fact. I didn't make that up. Just letting you know. All right, so Ty Guy says, Ross, I've seen it. I have seen it was 56, and that was nearly 10 years ago. Ross says, I've been following currency rates since I first hit Thailand in 2002. When I first got in Bangkok back in 2012 to go shopping, if the sales girl spoke English, I would ask her if she would like to go on a date. 80% of the time, I got the date. That's pretty cool. Filtho said that. By the way, that brings up another point. Going to a shopping mall and asking one of the girls there to go out with you on a date if they can speak some English is an excellent idea. If you're looking for something for your mother to take back home, or you're looking for a souvenir as a tourist or something like that, you're going to find that most of the people that work in these shopping malls, and I use girls. It doesn't matter whatever your sexual orientation is. You could replace it with guys or whatever, but for me, it's girls. So you could talk to these girls at the shopping mall and get a date. It's not hard to do. It's really not. Most of the women are very approachable, and if they turn you down, it's likely because they've been in a serious relationship for a long time. But good point, Ross. Still, the old-fashioned way is best. Fair enough. Filtho says, when building a profile for dating in Patia, should I use the picture from 15 years ago like they do? Sorry, I cracked myself up. I love it. Yeah. So I probably wouldn't do that because here's what happened. This is another thing that happens. I need to make you guys aware of when it comes to dating. Before they come and meet you, they will want to see what you look like via a video call, whether that be on the app or on the Line app or FaceTime or something. These girls are not just going to come meet you and come see you if they don't know what you look like first, like right now. So that's been my personal experience, and I think it's a good idea. For them, it's more about safety than anything else, and it's a good idea. Speaking of safety, I can't talk about all this without talking about being in the pandemic. So if you have someone come over, of course, we have to say this because we're on YouTube. You want to make sure you follow your social distancing measures, wear your mask wherever it's required. Find out if both of you have been vaccinated or not, or if one has, one hadn't. Probably a good idea to get a test before you go on a date. Make sure you follow all safety protocols. And then, of course, follow the general safety protocols. All right. Montelli says, ban me now. Not yet, Montelli, not yet. But it's good to see you, brother. Ty Guy Bryce says, it's been 2 years. My preference is about anything. I hear you, man. Yes, good evening to Mr. Montelli. Glad to see you in the house. So let's get into all the wonderful things that are happening in the Thailand tourism industry right now as we speak. And by wonderful, I'm being a little bit sarcastic because there's really not a lot of good news that you're going to hear in the media, and there's really not a lot of good news you're going to hear from the vast majority of people right now. First, let me give you the update. The update for today is 9,539 cases, 86 people who are no longer with us, and this says it has some briefs in it. This is from the Tiger. It says today the Public Health Department reported the 9,539 new infections and 86 notice it says coronavirus related passings, right? 103 of today's cases were reported from the Thai prison system. Today's numbers indicate a flattening. Today's numbers indicate a flattening of new infections, but still much higher than the week before. I don't know how that's possible because we had only 40 cases less or something like that than yesterday. Okay, we're flattening. But still much higher than the week before. Provincial totals published just after lunchtime. Bullet point: the ministries of Public Health and Transport have prepared a 5,000 bed field hospital at Savannahboom Airport in the new Satellite 1 building. We talked about that. Patients with moderate and mild conditions will be treated on 3rd and 4th floors. We talked about that. The BMA will start to implement, that's the Bangkok Metropolitan Association, by the way. The BMA will start to implement home and community isolation for asymptomatic patients and people displaying mild symptoms. The first community isolation center will be the Sri Sudarm Temple. Home isolation is being implemented by 69 health service centers under the BMA, as well as 201 community health clinics affiliated with the National Health Security Office. The reason they're doing this is because they're running out of bed space. And that's just the way it is. Home and community isolation is, again, this notion that lockdowns are gonna really have a dramatic effect on the numbers and that kind of thing. I mean, really, we've talked about this, guys. This is a virus that you can't. And in fact, I was talking to somebody this morning that said this: you can't control the uncontrollable, and this thing is out of control. But nevertheless, Thailand is still going to put their foot down and say, hey, we're going to do this and do that and control the movement of people and control this and control that, and we're going to eradicate it somehow. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. That is not medical advice. That is not a medical opinion. That is just my personal opinion. None of this is medical advice. None of this is intended to be. Even the dating advice is not intended to be for your own personal use. I'm simply sharing my experience. All the disclaimers there, don't take anything I say for seriously. Proceed at your own risk. Next bullet point: the Phuket Provincial Public Health Office Chief reports that 10 new infections were reported on the island yesterday, mostly from Thai people traveling over the land border at the top of the island from other regions. He revealed that one case of the D variant, known to be more contagious and reportedly resistant to the Sino jab, has been identified in the Phuket Sandbox many days ago. The infected person's details were not revealed, but it was stated they have been receiving treatment in Phuket for the past 5 days. Now, by the way, 12 of those people that were in his group have requested to go home because they were put in they were taken away from their SHA Plus hotels and put in a ALQ, which is an alternative local quarantine hotel, where they have to stay in the rooms 24/7. And they've been doing that on Phuket since this guy landed. let's look at the worsening news here. We got some comments. What do we say? Chuck, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Ryan says, how likely is October full opening for tourists to Bangkok and beyond? I would say at this point, probably they're probably going to open it. They're probably going to open it, but the reality of what you will be able to do when you get here will likely not exist. Even in Phuket right now, as they push the Sandbox model further and further and further and try to do more and more and more with it. The nightclubs are still closed. The entertainment venues are still shut down. Most of the restaurants have a curfew, and you can only drink alcohol at certain times in those restaurants. And I don't believe you can take any alcohol away or order alcohol either. I'm not sure. To sum it up, Ross says, Ryan, unlikely. And I would say to Ross, that is correct. It's just a bad sentiment over here. And, you know, as crazy as I thought people were when they said it would be 2022 before Thailand reopened, I'm now starting to believe that 100%. Just my opinion, based on my experience. Charles says, yeah, let them fly home. How does that work? You normally have to have a negative test to get on a plane. Heard Phuket was pressured to let them leave. Yeah, I heard they were too, and also heard they weren't letting them leave. Not sure if that's true, but that's what I heard. Wouldn't want to be a passenger on that flight for sure. Ross says, Charles, what airline would let them on the plane? Exactly. And that's got to be the worst fear of being a tourist, like Charles was talking about yesterday. That's his worst fear, is for him to be fine, but to get on a plane with somebody who tests positive and then him have to lose all his money on the ALQ, and you have to pay. I mean, lose all his money on the SHA Plus hotels that he booked for his vacation. Then you have to pay for the ALQ quarantine. Like, you have to pay it out of pocket at your own expense. You have to pay for all 3 tests while you're here. And I saw something about the Samui project opening with 5,000 bot tests or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to find that. I'll try to find that and see if I can help. They've switched now to the antigen test because they want the more rapid result, even though it's not nearly as accurate. I guess in a bid to save money and to track cases or whatever. I really don't know. Some of the stuff they're doing just doesn't make any sense. Charles says, are the ALQ people left Friday or Saturday? Maybe they did. I hope they did. I hope they got to leave. I really do. Ross says there should be some kind of travel insurance to cover that issue. Should be. Definitely should be, but I bet there's not. Just like with the jabs, you know, you're responsible to pay for it. You're responsible to get it. You're responsible for everybody around you. But if you don't get it, you're irresponsible. So that's not my opinion. I saw that in a meme. I thought it was very, very good, and the meme was much better than the way I just said it. Charles says, problem with the insurance covers, they are asymptomatic, not sick. Good point there, Mr. White. Good point. So the Phuket Sandbox has hit a few. Wait, this was 12 hours ago. This is from Tiger also. It says, the Phuket Sandbox has hit a few hurdles with the revelation of 2 more international arrivals testing positive, as well as the first case of the Delta and Beta variants on the island. The news comes in the wake of the governor ordering most of the island schools to close for 14 days due to the rising risk of infections. 2 children aged 8 and 9 just tested positive, according to health officials this evening. Details are still emerging, but they are said to be members of 2 families with a total of 7 family members who arrived last week on international flights at the beginning of the Phuket Sandbox reopening. The children were confirmed positive for C19 on their second test since arriving in Phuket, given on the 6th or 7th day. They entered the Sandbox unvaccinated as they are too young for the jabs, and all their family members had been fully vaccinated already. The children have been moved to the hospital, and the other 5 members of both families were moved to an alternative local quarantine, the ALQ, right, which they're having to pay for. Alternative local quarantine facility for testing and observation. Mind you, both the mother and father here have been fully vaccinated. This marks just the second and third COVID-19 infections from the international Sandbox travelers after one man from the UAE was diagnosed with C-19 and hospitalized, as 13 others on this flight, 12 of which now thought to be family members or in the same group of travelers, moved to ALQ facilities, along with 7 others who came in contact with the man on the ground. Authorities are asking people to remain calm and not to panic. The number of infected out of the 2,500 plus arrivals is still statistically very low. Official numbers saw 25 C-19 infections in the first week of the Sandbox, including 24 domestic transmissions, and this week and the past 3 days uncovered 28 infections, 26 of which were domestic. To further complicate the Sandbox situation, some worrying details have emerged from a meeting of the Phuket Communicable Disease Control Committee, so the Phuket CDCC, yesterday, when it was revealed that both the Beta and Delta variants have been detected on the island. The Phuket Provincial Health Office Chief reported on the 10 new infections yesterday, confirming that they mostly came from Thai people traveling overland from other regions. Unlike international flight passengers, those coming by land are not quarantined on arrival until they receive their first negative test results. So that means they can just go around and spread, and it's okay. All infected people and anyone in close proximity to them are all immediately quarantined in hopes of keeping the spread to a minimum and the Sandbox bubble as safe as possible. More troubling, though, was this guy's revelation that one case of the Delta, known to be more contagious and reportedly resistant to the Sino jab, had been identified in the Phuket Sandbox many days ago. The infected person's details were not revealed, but it was stated that they had been receiving treatment in Phuket for the past 5 days. On June 30th, this public ministry guy had adamantly denied social media rumors that the Delta variant was in Phuket, but it is unclear if the one case had been identified already then. A total of 6 cases of the Beta have been identified in the Phuket Sandbox, 2 new today. Our authorities are waiting on an assessment and guidance from the CCSA on how to proceed. Another tidbit to come out of the meeting is the committee discussing a shortage of staffing for the entry ports to Phuket Island, mentioning that there may not be enough staff to properly enforce entry requirements. They discussed adding staff and strengthening enforcement and prosecution of those intentionally violating the rules by charging them under the Communicable Disease Act. So, all kinds of good news there. Let me tell you how bad it's getting in Bangkok. I'll tell you that next. Let me catch these. Let me text. Hey, MedTech, good to see you, man. Let me catch these comments real quick. Let's see here. Charles says, yeah, they let them fly home. How does that work? You normally have negative tests on the plane. I heard Phuket was pressured to let them leave, probably. Wouldn't want to be on passenger on that flight again. I already read those. Okay. Ross says there should be some kind of travel insurance to cover that. Charles says problem. Yep, I read that. Ross says, if you are forced to change your travel plans through no fault of your own, I want insurance just in case some jerk screws up my vacation. I hear you loud and clear, brother. Senior Frank, good to see you. Travel insurance companies probably have little interest in covering AOQ based on the very low bar established for the Sandbox. This isn't lost luggage or a delayed flight. Agreed, Frank. David says, all the best for you and everyone. We feeling it too here in Australia. I have to fly to work See you soon, David. Okay, David, take care, brother. And yeah, stay safe. I know Australia is taking a hard line at this as well. Charles says, just to let the fam know, I paid out of pocket 4,300 Thai baht for my test to come back to the U.S. May 5th from Bangkok. With advice from a fellow fam member, I just got my money back from my HSA account. Very interesting. Law says 21 up, 5 down. Oh, we got trolls. That's good. Anybody else want to hit the thumbs up button? It's free. Bob Bruce says, how similar are the Thai ladies to Philippine ladies? I know it's 100% fiance, even marriage, but what's the difference? We actually have live streams on here where, Bob, where we've discussed that. I've gotten on StreamYard with expats who are currently in the Philippines, and we've had that discussion. It's night and day, pretty much the difference. I lived in the Philippines for 9 months, and I did some dating while I was there. It is not similar in various ways. For example, most Filipinos want to get out of the Philippines. So wherever you're from, they're probably going to want to go with you. Again, I'm speaking in general. In the Philippines, you meet the girl, you might go on one date, and then the next date, you're probably going to meet the family if that's what she's into you for money, which she most likely is if she's from the Philippines. You're going to meet the family, and then the family is going to tell that girl whether or not they approve of you. Okay. In Thailand, the girl is going to go out on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dates with you or whatever. Maybe you may not meet the family for 6 months to a year because she's going to decide whether or not you're good enough to meet her family. That's a big difference. Paying for family cost is a little bit less here in Thailand than it is the Philippines. In the Philippines, you're just expected to pay. As the man that's dating the daughter, you're expected to pay. And the reason for this is in this part of the world, Southeast Asia, they don't really have sophisticated social security systems or safety nets, that kind of thing. So what they do is they have babies, and their children grow up and take care of the grandmother, grandfather, mom, dad, brothers, sisters. The family takes care of the family. That's kind of how it works. That's why you see a lot of girls. There's a whole bunch of scams in the Philippines. There's a whole bunch of scams here in Thailand too when it comes to dating. Best thing I can tell you is to proceed with extraordinary caution in both instances until you get a grip on what you're actually dealing with. Both countries can have very manipulative women. In my opinion, the Philippines was far worse when it comes to manipulation and just overall having a ulterior motive. They always had ulterior motives in the Philippines. The girls did. Here in Thailand, I've been lucky enough to find some that do not, and that's a good thing. Just wanting romance, no babies. I understand, Bob, and you can find that. That's something else about the babies. And sorry, 1 second, guys. Just got something crazy here. Yeah, we're already done that. Okay, so you're quite about the babies. So while Thai women do look to have children, because it's kind of a similar setup, I told you Southeast Asia is Southeast Asia. It is what it is. But in the Philippines, the Filipinas, if they're 22 to 25 years old and they haven't had kids yet, they're pretty much looked at as, I don't want to say outcast or loser or something like that, but they're pretty much looked at as there's something wrong with them. And that's not necessarily the case here in Thailand. Okay. But if you get a Filipina and she's young, but if she's in her 20s, I can almost guarantee she's going to want to have babies. That's pretty usual in the Philippines, and I don't see that as much here in Thailand, which I'm very happy about because I don't want to have any kids myself. So those are just a couple of pieces of advice I can give you on the Thai versus the Filipina. Now, don't get me wrong, there are Thai women over here that are just as bad as the Filipinos, but I think they're fewer for sure. Yeah, you can watch Ross has got a good job there, or got a good comment there. The Filipina P, she is a vlogger in the Philippines. She speaks good English. She does really good videos that are recorded, and she's got them all typed out with the teleprompter and the whole 9 yards. And she explains things very well. You can watch videos from her, and she'll pretty much explain everything to you, to be honest. So that would be my better suggestion for you to go to, or rather than go to somebody like me. All right, moving on. How bad is it in Bangkok? Again, from the Tiger. 80 Bangkok roadblocks to curb the spread before lockdown. So lockdown doesn't officially start until tomorrow on Monday here in Thailand, just to let you guys know. The law of unintended consequences has come to be used as an adage or idiomatic warning that an intervention in a complex system tends to create unanticipated and often undesirable outcomes. It is commonly used as a worry of rumors or humorous warning against the hubristic belief that humans can fully control the world around them. That's from Wikipedia, a direct quote. Yeah, I know, Charles. Believe me, I've been thinking about it. The last time the government tried to curb the C-19 outbreaks in Bangkok by creating a semi-lockdown resulted in a national surge of infections, as people wanting to avoid the lockdown measures fled Bangkok, and they will do it again. 100% guaranteed they'll do it again. To their hometowns across the country, bringing their suitcases and infections along with them. This time, the government is hoping to learn from the unintended consequences of their previous mistake and has already set up roadblocks on the avenues out of Bangkok ahead of the interprovincial travel restrictions going into effect on Monday. So they don't want you traveling out of the dark red zones, which the provinces that are in the dark red, and Bangkok is one of those. Military and police have now put in place more than 80 of these checkpoints to inspect vehicles trying to leave the province. The Chief of Defense Forces of the Royal Thai Armed Forces is asking the public nicely for their support, but bolstering up defenses for those who disobey. He requested for the public to please cooperate and support the lockdown by refraining. He called it a lockdown, so I don't want to hear any crap about this is not a lockdown, okay? The Chief of Defense's Forces of the Royal Thai Armed Forces called it a lockdown. He says, please cooperate and support the lockdown by refraining from interprovincial travel or any other activity that could spread C-19, and to follow the Ministry of Public Health safety measures. At the same time, though, he has initiated the use of additional military patrol units tasked with offering supplemental support and coverage for the roadblocks and checkpoints leaving Bangkok. They aim to prevent any attempts to circumvent security checkpoints and stop any actions from citizens trying to flee the city that might exacerbate the spread and outbreak of C-19 spilling out of Bangkok and into the rest of the country. Bad news, dude. It's already in every province. Police and military are under orders to check all vehicles attempting to leave Bangkok, in particular those that might transport groups of people like passenger vans or pickup trucks. They have been instructed to enforce all new travel restrictions at the Bangkok roadblocks and prosecute anyone found to be in violation of these orders. Well, what are the orders? Because that source came from Thai PBS World. What exactly are the orders? I've seen nothing about what the requirements are for you to be able to travel interprovincially, other than you must have a good reason. That's all I've seen. What are the orders? What orders are we supposed to follow if we want to go out of Bangkok? I don't know. I have no idea, because I haven't seen anything in the media. I mean, what are you going to do? I don't know. Other than necessary travel only is supposed to be the rule. Well, what does that constitute? You know, all buses from, this is again from Tiger, 15 hours ago, all buses from Bangkok to Phuket and south canceled from today. So in response to Bangkok's new lockdown measures from today, all bus service between Bangkok and Phuket has been canceled. So that means they told you when you fly in from to participate in the Phuket Sandbox that you could fly into Bangkok. Well, now all the bus services have been canceled. So what are they going to do? Pick you up in a SHA Plus van or something and take you to Phuket? I don't know. Doesn't say. But it does say that the buses are shut down in response to Bangkok's new lockdown measures from today. All bus service between Bangkok and Phuket has been canceled, along with buses to dark red zones in the southern provinces. Interprovincial buses will stop running effective immediately until further notice with no set end date. The announcement was made by the president of the public company Transport CO, which supervises all interprovincial bus services in Thailand. The cancellations of buses were ordered in line with the new lockdown measures for dark red provinces like Bangkok and its 5 neighboring provinces, and the 4 southern provinces of Yala, Songkhla, Pattani, and Narathiwat. The CCSA included in their new restrictions limitations on travel between provinces and asked that everyone refrain from traveling out of Bangkok. Okay, they asked for everyone to refrain from traveling out of Bangkok. What if you need to? On top of that, a curfew is in place in Bangkok and all 10 provinces from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., barring buses or any other vehicles to be traveling except for medical emergencies or to jobs at medical facilities or utility companies. Like, who else would be on the road from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m.? There's nothing to do here. Everything's closed. There's no nightlife. There's no entertainment. The restaurants are under curfew. You can't dine in anyway. There's an alcohol ban. I don't know. I don't get it. During the lockdown measures in the capital, limited services will run to various regions of Thailand. Only 3 routes for buses will operate 1 round-trip journey each day between Bangkok and the northern Thailand cities of Klong Lan, Lomsak, and Uttaradit. I hope I said that right. So only 3 routes for buses will operate 1 round-trip journey each day between Bangkok. Okay. For the east and northeast of Thailand, 5 round-trip journeys per day will run between Bangkok and Saraburi, and 9 other routes will run back and forth once a day only. Those routes are between Bangkok and Buriram, Loy and Chain Khan, Mukadan, Nakan Panam, Nang Bualampu, Ratana Buri, Surin Trat, and Uban Ratchatani. Due to the sudden cancellations of routes and lockdowns in Bangkok and the 9 other provinces, the buses will issue full refunds without penalty or fee for any ticket traveling between July 10th and 25th. Refunds can be obtained at the bus station ticket office at least 3 hours before the original departure time. Alternatively, they instruct riders to contact the Borkor Sor ticket office to postpone a trip. Those that book using state welfare only have the option of postponement. No refund will be given. And the source on this from the Phuket News, even though I'm reading it off the Tiger. Further information and help can be received by calling the bus service hotline at 1490. Basically, they are really, really, really trying to control the movement of people. And that's why people are calling it a lockdown, is because that's exactly what it is. And it's, they say it's going to go on for 14 days. You might as well plan on a month of this, if not 2, because even though they think they have every route sealed and the bus service is sealed and that kind of thing, Thai people are smart. They really are, and they know their country. And if they want to go home bad enough, they're going to go home. I've seen it happen too many times. Charles says they're set up but not stopping. Useless again. They will as of tomorrow. That's my understanding anyway. JX says some of these places are just flexing how much they can control people's lives. I agree. Charles says, my buffalo is sick and I need to get medicine to it. Yep, that's a scam you'll often hear. For the guy that was asking earlier, I think Bob. Was it Bob? Yep, Bob. Charles says, I was told Sandboxers that landed in Bangkok will be transferred to an isolation terminal for the connecting flight to Phuket. Did they ever do that, or only accepting Phuket direct flights? I think they did that, to be honest with you. MetTech says total overreaction. I'm going to leave that comment alone. Filto says, not enough to destroy the domestic air industry. Let's destroy land transportation too. Next, let's take people's shoes. They've already talked about shutting down the domestic flights. We read that through AirAsia yesterday. So it's getting worse and worse. JX says every time they find a case, another lockdown. This could go on for years. That's true. It could, because Thailand is not receiving the number of jabs that they told everybody they would. They're not manufacturing as many as they told everybody they would. If you can't get the jabs, and if that is indeed the solution to the problem, what are you going to do? I've been saying for a long time, need to treat it as a learn how to live with it situation. I understand getting the jabs to the most vulnerable, to the old, if you have respiratory problems or underlying conditions. But I can't get too in depth into it, but the rate of you having serious complications from all of this is mostly going to be in people who are older, like 60 plus, or people who have underlying health conditions. So let's get them jabbed, and then let's go back to normal. Everybody else can handle it with treatment. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm not a doctor, and that is not medical advice, nor should you take it as medical advice, nor should you use any of that as medical advice. Just to be clear. Senior Frank says there are a lot of people breaking the rules and running speakeasy type bars and organized parties. That's right. There's still a lot of nightlife in Bangkok, just not where it's typically found. 100% agree. 100% agree. This is probably why there's a curfew and a crackdown on more kinds of businesses. Easier to see where the trouble is if there aren't legitimate businesses blocking your view. That's true, but these people are so smart that how many these speakeasy types of bars that you talk about, Frank, you make a good point. You make a very good point. How many of them do you think there are? I would say hundreds just in Bangkok. And the police are finding, what, one a week, two a week, something like that. They're not, it just doesn't seem to be curbing anything. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet, please do so. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's free and it helps the channel. Robert B., good to see you, my friend. The magic shot will make it less of an issue overall. That's what they say. MedTech says, is the Thai government aware that no one lives forever? Robert B. says, if 75% of the world gets the jab annually, there won't be a lockdown for this ever again. Why would 75% of the world need to get it annually? That's my question. Why would you need to get a jab annually for this? That doesn't, I don't understand, Robert. I really don't. Why that would need to happen. Because like you get sick, right? Unless you're old or you have underlying conditions. The vast majority of people don't pass from, you even see D-Easy's put up a number there, and I'll leave, I'm going to, D-Easy, unfortunately, I'm going to have to take that down because of the words you said after it, but that's for YouTube purposes. I'm going to leave it up there for a second because I want everybody to see it. But it's true. And, it is what it is. Robert, I'm not being disrespectful to you in any way, brother. I just don't understand why we would have to do it annually. I certainly hope that that's not the case. Lyle says, Robert V, hello. Yes, definitely. I'm glad to see a channel member in the house. Glad to see all you channel members in the house. Charles says, in April, when the alcohol and bars closed, just knock on a closed bar door and you were sucked into a magical world of no restrictions. Yeah, it's happening. And it'll continue to happen. It'll continue to happen. People will continue to have these speakeasy things. It is what it is. And the fact of it is, like with any other cold or flu, whatever the case may be, our bodies will build up natural immunities to certain things. And I completely am 100% behind jabs for people that want them, and that for people that need them. Again, if you're old or if you have an underlying condition, you probably need, I would say the recommendation is, to the best of my ability, to the best of my knowledge, is to get the jab. But I don't think, I still believe it should be a personal choice. That's just my opinion, not medical opinion, just my opinion. Robert B says, sorry, I didn't mean to stir the pot. Just anticipating the new way of life with this. Something's got to give one way or the other. You didn't stir the pot, brother. You didn't stir the pot at all, Robert. And what you said, it makes sense because that's likely the scenario that we will see in the future as we see more and more quote unquote variants come online. You may be right. There may be required a booster every year. We don't know. I certainly hope that's not the case because there's just not enough background information on these jabs yet to know what the long-term effects are. So no worries, Robert, at all about your comment. I was just saying I really hope that doesn't happen. That would be horrible if we have to get a yearly booster. Lyle says, so if I come over, how much money could I make selling bathtub gin? Bathtub gin. I don't know. Don't get caught. That's for sure. MedTech says, because there is some evidence that C19 antibodies are somewhat epidermal, not lasting indefinitely. Yeah, that's true. And that's a fair point, MedTech. That's to Robert's point. So yeah, that would make some sense. Senior Frank says there are more people breaking the rules than there are people to catch them. I would agree with that. He also says, all I know is I've seen improvised convenience stores selling drinks off hours through a slit in a wall under BTS station staircases. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it one bit. Law says, while in ASQ, yeah, I mean, while in ASQ, you could probably get away with a whole bunch of stuff depending on how much money you got. Filtho says, waiting for a minister wearing my fancy pants to just ban living and concede to evolution. That's a good one. I like that. I like that, Filthos. Senior Frank says there have always been off the books operations. Now the ones that were out in the open have switched up their game, and that is so true. Everything's went dark online. Hard to find websites, but if you know where to look, you can always find them, and that's just life. That's just life. Anywhere, not just in Thailand. Anywhere. Charles is laughing at Lyle. He says, not much. There are already some Thai whiskeys that will make you go blind. I've heard that before. Just got an update here from the Tiger. It says, the Sandbox guarantee, taking the what ifs out of traveling to Thailand. It says, opinion. Quote, the Sandbox guarantee could help bolster confidence in a plan that, for now, leaves doubt in the mind of potential travelers. End quote. In Bangkok, they're preparing to lock down the city, add extra layers of restrictions and a curfew and stop people getting out and heading back to their provinces. In Phuket, they're trying to get people in via the Sandbox, an option for fully vaccinated travelers to come to Phuket for a 14-day stay before being allowed to travel around other parts of Thailand, which I don't know how you're going to do with interprovincial travel restrictions. But to say the least, the Sandbox has gone a bit off script. These are not my words. This is from the Tiger. Not through a lack of good intentions and planning, but by the capricious nature of the current COVID surge and the emergence in Thailand of this Delta variant just being really bad timing. The fact that it hasn't stopped raining in Phuket over 3 days hasn't helped the optics of the Sandbox, but hey, it's the monsoon season and it rains from time to time. That's true. But back to Bangkok, it says, for a moment. Without actually mouthing the L word, Bangkok is now heading into a period of virtual lockdown. Not only Bangkok, but the city's immediate provinces encircling the capital, along with 4 southern provinces. By the way, these 4 southern provinces are where my kids are that I teach. So that's why I'm under this partial furlough. For those of you that don't know, that's the reason. They can't go to school. We teach schools online in the South that don't have access to foreign teachers because it's frankly too dangerous for foreign native-speaking teachers to be down there. So we bring education to them, and while these provinces are under dark red zone lockdowns, we can't teach them, and that's the reason for the furlough. So I hope all that makes sense. That's why I'm partially furloughed right now. Moving on, not only Bangkok, but the city's immediate provinces encircling the capital, along with 4 southern provinces adjacent to the Malaysian border, where there's been another surge of cases. There's a curfew. There are more shop closures. There are additional layers of restrictions. Call it what you want. It's a lockdown by any other definition. That's what the Tiger says. And officials are going to restrict the movement of people from the dark red greater Bangkok zone. Problem is, they gave people a 3-day warning about the new checkpoints. So guess what people have been doing all weekend? Yep, fleeing the capital and heading home to their provinces. In many cases, moving the problem out of the city back into the provinces, which has so far been spared the worst of the ravages of this third wave of infections. Now, this happened last time, and this is a never-ending circle. This is a never-ending circle here in Thailand. That's what happens. They lock it down. People go home. It spreads. Bangkok does a little bit better. They focus their energies elsewhere, and then people are back in Bangkok working. They pick it up again, and then they lock it down again, and it's a never-ending cycle. Never-ending cycle. At some point, something's got to give. Whoever said that is absolutely right on. I believe that was Robert B. Thank you, Robert B. For saying that. It says, let's see. Meanwhile, in Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao are dusting off their reception desk and washing the glasses, all ready for their very own reopening under the Samui Plus brand, basically another Sandbox. They were expecting some 2,000 travelers to the island within the first 30 days. This is scheduled to start July 14th. But even that conservative number now looks optimistic given the current circumstances. The Phuket Sandbox model that started on July 1 along the Andaman coast is faltering and now has to continue operating in a situation where the country's capital is in virtual lockdown and other provinces are looking at quarantine and other restrictive measures to control their local situation. Where are these travelers hoping to travel after their 14 days of island quarantine? And it just leaves a question mark. This is my point. Why would they bother heading to Bangkok where there's little to see and do at this time? Exactly. This is what I've been saying. Unless you have a family or a clear need to get back into the country, you may as well keep hanging out on the islands for the rest of your trip. And I couldn't agree more. The recent detections of positive tests amongst the sandboxers was always going to be a risk. How the local officials handled those risks was also untested, but now we know. The people testing positive and their families are being sent into quarantine. And listen to this. This is important, guys. If you're thinking about coming to Thailand, this is important. Listen. The people testing positive and their families are being sent into quarantine. And people in close contact with any of these travelers are also being told to isolate at their own cost. It says that in all caps. And their COVID insurance doesn't cover the travelers for these additional costs. So there's your answer about the insurance, whoever had that. It does not cover the quarantine or the switching and all that stuff. And I'll repeat that sentence. And their COVID insurance doesn't cover the travelers for these additional costs. This is where island officials and tourism operators could step in, turn the negative into a positive story, and remove some of the risk factors. People traveling to Thailand under the new Sandbox guidelines to Phuket or the Gulf Islands should be guaranteed that they will not incur any additional cost if they end up at the bad end of a positive result, especially if they just happen to be on the wrong flight or in the wrong place, and they just happen to be in close proximity to someone who has tested positive. Why should they have their visit ruined at their own cost? Excellent points to the Tiger here. Excellent points. It's now time for Thai officials to make it clear to sandboxers that they won't have to incur additional quarantine or accommodation costs because of these public health measures. They also need to be able to guarantee a refund on unused prepaid accommodation, because you have to pay for all this stuff up front, by the way. Unused prepaid accommodation if they choose to head home early because they're ensnared in a situation where they've been exposed to a person testing positive. If local officials are really trying to reopen these tourist locations and really want the Sandbox plans to work, they must provide a level of guarantee so travelers don't end up being stuck in an expensive ASQ hotel or having to miss book flights, etc. And what happens if tourists end up stuck in Phuket if things turn pear-shaped for the island's COVID control measures? Again, the government should be proactive in providing a published guarantee if something like that happens. The Tiger saying it. The quote Sandbox guarantee could help bolster confidence in that in a plan that, for now, leaves doubt in the mind of potential travelers. Quote, what if that happened to me and my family? End quote. That is a perfectly valid question if you're thinking of traveling to Thailand at this time. The quote Sandbox guarantee would show that the Thai government and the well-funded government tourism bodies are real about making the Sandbox experiments work without further gouging the pockets of the hapless travelers. They could go further with an added monsoon guarantee as well. If it rains all day, we'll give you a free massage and theater ticket or variation on that theme. Take all the what ifs out of the minds of potential sandboxers. I love this article. This is great. These pioneer travelers, whether they're coming in for an actual holiday or just using the sandbox as a way to get back into Thailand, deserve a level of protection against these occasional mishaps. There will be further positive cases detected amongst foreign travelers, but they and the people around them shouldn't be punished and forced to pay out for these accidents. I agree. The quote Sandbox guarantee, which is just a theory right now, or a similar style of guarantee for incoming passengers, is an important step if the Thai government is honest about restarting the country's vital tourism economy. It says the views expressed by the writer do not necessarily reflect the editorial stance of the Tiger, so I should probably quote the writer. Doesn't give the writer's name. That's interesting. Yeah, doesn't give the writer's name, but it's a writer that came. It's an opinion piece that was published on the Tiger. I don't see the writer's name anywhere, or I would give it to you guys. It just says by Tiger. On Sunday, July 11th, 2021. That's the day, by the way. That pretty much sums up everything I've been trying to get across. Let's see here. Ross says generation lost. 100%. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Let's see here. Where was I? Charles says to Lyle, not much. They're already sometime. Oh yeah, I read that. Okay, MedTech says does ASQ still permit deliveries? Depending on where you are, yes. As far as I know, that would be a dark 2 weeks without being able to buy additional foods online. Anon talked about that recently, and he was able. He stayed here in Bangkok for his ASQ, and he was able to purchase online MedTech. So. I guess it depends on the hotel. You just have to check the hotel first. Ross, you got a point. Steve, Mr. Montelli there. That's fair. Filtho says, a Filtho's public service announcement. If you find yourself served questionable distilled alcohols, pour some in a metal spoon and light it on fire. If the flame is blue, should be okay. But if the flame is yellow or red, it might make you... I like that. JX says, don't forget, you have to download a tracking app. That's right. So contact could mean just walking by. That's true. Ryan says, later, Thailand. Hey, man, I don't blame you. Montelli says, would quit using that word old. Who said old? I didn't use old. I don't think. But anyway, guys, that's what's going on. And it's absolutely, if people think that, I mean, the Thai people are smart. Most of them got out here. I'm looking out my window where there's normally traffic everywhere. Okay. There's no traffic on the roads. They're already gone. People aren't staying here because they, the Thai people, when it's locked down, the businesses aren't going to be open. And everything's going to be closed. You're going to be able to go to shopping malls during the day and that's pretty much it. To get a few things here and there, they're going home. They're going home, and that's kind of what's been going on, to be totally honest with you guys. So, hang on one second. Let me pre-read this before I read it to you guys. Let's see. This is a tweet from Mr. Barrow. It says, for those people who were hoping to register for the mod vaccine on the Beauregard website, I'm afraid you are already too late. According to, then he gives a source, it ran out in a matter of seconds. It would seem the odds of winning the lottery are better. And it's got the Thai version down here, and then it says, thank you for your trust in Bumbergrad International Hospital. Today's registration limit for the mod alternative vaccine has been reached. You can register for the vaccine tomorrow at 9 a.m. onwards. According to this, on July 10th, 630 international travelers arrived on 7 flights, bringing the total to 3,917. This is for the Phuket Sandbox. 1,451 have already had their second test so far. 3 people have tested positive. 167,610 room nights have been booked up until September. But will that last? Will people still come? That's my question. Kevin says, good night. Thanks again for helping the channel. We all get by with a little help from our friend. Yes, we do, Kevin. And thank you again for your challenge that you put out there and your support. I appreciate it very, very much. And thanks for being a part of the channel for so long, too. I really appreciate that. 86 people no longer with us today. Let's see. Now, this is, again, from Mr. Barrow. It says people could be allowed to buy rapid test kits at a pharmacy as soon as this week, which is good news if we can now test at home. However, according to the Thai media, the price is expected to be 300 to 400 baht per kit. Is that good news? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. But that's the summation, guys. That's the summation of where we're at. For those of you that don't know, we talked a little bit about dating and dating apps and some suggestions on how to use them earlier on in the stream at the very beginning. And then we talked about the, I hesitate to call it a disaster, but I really don't know a better word for it, that has become travel and tourism in 2021 here in Thailand. And so many people are out of work. So many businesses are closed. So many things are just going wrong here in Thailand. And there seems to be no end to this repetitive cycle until they get the jabs that they need in and the jabs in people, which we all know you can still get C19 even if you have had the jab. We learned yesterday that one of the jabs, the Sino, was basically ineffective against the Delta strain. So it's a mess. You're right, Robert Mack. It's a big mess. And Lyle says exchange rates. Yes, we also talked about exchange rates too. And Ross, I'll try to get with Ross, and he and I will set up a date to do a live stream so we can talk about that. In fact, we might do it midweek or next weekend. I don't know. I'll have to see what Ross's schedule looks like. Plus, I have no idea what my schedule looks like. All the public schools, like government schools, they are definitely closed. The private schools have been asked to close, I think, but there's certain criteria that can be met to keep them open, which is a good thing for me, because if I can work extra days, I work at a private school, so if I can work extra days, then I get a little bit more than half my a half month salary, which is between YouTube and that will be the only things that get me by. So it is what it is. Charles says, have you used the Wise wallet to hold your bot? Thinking about converting during a high exchange and holding there until I come. I don't have / qualify for a Thai bank account. I have not used it to hold bot. I use it to hold USD until the rate gets to where I want it to go, and then I transfer, Charles. So I hope that I really hope that helps answer your question. Ross could probably give you more information on that because he's been doing it a lot longer than I have. But the way I understand it is I just draw in my USD and then just let it hang until the exchange rate gets to where I want it to be, and then transfer it into my Thai bank account. So let's hope this is not the demise of the Thailand tourism industry. Let's hope this is just yet another setback. It's going to be very interesting over this week. Please stay tuned to DoMoreLife, this channel, and myself. Facebook, Instagram, all my links are below in the description. Keep an eye on all my social media, as I will be keeping you up to date with how things are progressing, these checkpoints and all this stuff that, they don't want to call a lockdown, but it's absolutely a lockdown. And I'll also keep you updated on what's going on here and how we're doing, what my personal plans are, and anything else you guys want to know, I'll try to answer for you. Robert Mack says, Charles White, sometimes the Thai person has a way to help with the bank. Yep, you can get agents or Thai people, especially if you have a Thai girlfriend, could probably help you out with that, Charles. But you'd have to talk to them individually. He says, yeah, I tried to get an account during my month there and had no luck. I have to see what we can do about that for you, Charles. Check it out. Rob P says, funny how they don't talk about recovered people for yeah, you're right. Hey, Rich Cypher's, good to see you, brother. Hate you dropping in here toward the end, but good to see you, man. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. We had a really good chat today. They will give out the number of recovered people. I'll give an example, Rob, but they don't, I mean, it's not publicly, talked about or whatever. So for example, they'll say, hang on. So people will give updates like since April 1st, this was about 22 hours ago. Since April 1st, they'll give the total number of infections, the total number of people that are no longer with us. 80,289 are in care, 2,738 in ICU, and 717 are on vents. 3,841 people have been discharged from care. So that, they'll give those updates from time to time. Right now, here just so you guys understand, day 30, this is how many vaccines Thailand gave out on the 30th day of the vaccine rollout. 269,653. Day 31, 291,575. Day 32, 356,378. Day 33, 399,908. Total doses since the rollout began, 8,275,383. Those are total doses. Those are not meaning that both doses have been given. Okay, that's the total number out of a country with 67 million people in it. Just to give you guys, an update on that. Robert B said, he's talking to Richard. Okay. Charles White says, as much as I love my girlfriend, I always keep my money in a sole account. Ex-wife helped me to form that opinion. No co-signers on my bank accounts. I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you at all. And I wasn't suggesting that you put anything in her name. I was actually suggesting that she may be able to help you talk with an agent that could help. They could help you get a bank account. Yeah, Robert B. promised me you're not mad at me because I wasn't trying to be rude earlier. I was just trying to wrap my head around the idea of having to have a yearly booster. That would just not be good. Ross says, Rob P., they do list those numbers as well. Yeah, they give it in the CCSA report. That's true, Ross. Ross says, I just got a new bank account without a cosigner. Well, yeah, but you're on a retirement visa too. So you drop all that money in the bank and get they'll give you a bank account. Just like me having a work permit. I can get a bank account with a work permit. So use K-Bank, super easy. I need a wife to verify the address. That works. My bank account is set up under my employer, so it's not K-Bank. Oh, you're on a marriage visa. Okay, well, still, marriage visa. So they know you're here in Thailand and you have income of some sort. Yeah, I'm sure you have to show some kind of income to get a marriage visa. But that's beside the point. Anyway, Charles says, I will have to check with her. Russ around, do you live there and have the correct visa? I was on the stamp. Yeah, that's probably why, Charles, is the visa type. Being on a stamp, you're probably not going to be able to get a bank account. Being on a tourist visa, probably not going to be able to get a bank account. That's probably why. Okay, good, Robert V. I'm glad we're all good, bro. Just wanted to make sure. So let me say, as always, hang on, Ross has got a comment. I went to 4 different banks before I found one to allow me to reopen one. Wow. And let me say, as always, thank you so much to those of you who monetarily contributed to the channel and helped we had a fantastic day in terms of monetary contributions. I really, really appreciate it, especially during this time, guys. Thank you so much. Let me say thank you to my channel members who are here, and sometime this week I'll get you some content out. Maybe we'll even have a live stream this week. I'm not sure. All depends on what the work schedule looks like, and I probably won't know anything about that until later on tonight. Then let me thank my moderators who do a great job making sure the channel stays clean. We have a nice family discussion when we have these live streams. I really appreciate that. You guys are talking about K-Bank, easy to set up. That's good. That's good. I had to set mine up through my employer, so it wasn't K-Bank. In and out in 20 minutes is not bad at all, Ross. And then let me just thank everybody that, let me thank Kevin. I know he's not on here, but thank him for setting up the challenge. I appreciate that. Again, thank you to everybody who contributed. I would also like to say thank you to everybody who made a comment or had any kind of dialogue in this conversation, because that's what makes the live streams work. So you guys really rocked today, and I appreciate your time. I certainly hope you found some value out of this conversation, and I hope you understand what's going on in Thailand. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them. And whatever you do today, be sure you do more life. I will see you all very soon. Everyone take care. Rob P says, Ross, they list the numbers but want to knock on our doors. Okay. I see, Rob. Guys, have a great day. Thank you so much to everybody for everything, just for being part of DoMoreLife. I really appreciate it. I really do. Good night to all of you in the West, and to everybody on this side of the world. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. I will see you guys later. Take care.